It's time for the weekly reel, where I share my real budget numbers, my real triumphs, and my real mistakes. Ready? Then let's go. Hi, you're watching Ready Budget Go. My name is Drew, and a warm welcome or welcome back to you. I'm going to start, as I usually do, with a cash dump. And this is where I take the money that I didn't spend this week in cash and put it toward another goal. So if I had any change, it would be in here. But this week, you can see the coin purse is empty. So I don't need this and I don't need this. This holds all the coins that I'm accumulating over time. So I'm going to put these to the side. Now, this week, I didn't spend any cash at all, not one penny. So inside of my weekly envelope, or my weekly pouch, I still have 20, oh goodness, 5, 30, 5, 40, 5, 46, 47, 48, 49, and $50. So because I didn't spend any of this money, what I am going to do is I'm just going to keep these smaller bills here in this envelope, and I will take $50 out of here to put toward my monthly. And it's not really a monthly, it's just sort of a slush fund, I guess you could call it, for gifts and whatnot. And I'm going to need some of this money soon. So typically, what I'm trying to do is put aside, here's 50, put aside the money at the end of the month. But because we had the Amazon shopping days this week, and I certainly spent, I may need this money sooner. So I haven't totaled up how much I spent yet. Some of the expenses were personal, some of them were for gifts, which is what this fund is intended for, and some were for my business, and Ready Budget Go will pay for those. So, that being said, that is all I have to do this week. So I've got next week already ready to go. This is for the rest of October, $50 a week, and I've got 3 more weeks, 4 more weeks, something like that. Yeah, 4 more weeks, including this next week. And then I've stashed the $50 that I didn't spend this week in here. So let me set this aside. So, not much of an excitement with the cash dump this week, but I'm pretty proud of myself for not spending any money. And that is a trend that will continue as I get to the budget book, which I will bring out next. As soon as I find it, there it is. Okay. Apologies for the glare at first. So let's talk about what happened in my budget this week. So this is my monthly budget overview, and this is where I plan the entire month for how much I'm going to spend and on what. So the first section is income, and I don't have any income for October yet. I don't get paid until the 15th of the month, and then the last day of the month. So it's going to be a while still from when I'm filming this. So nothing to report for income. And then with bills, all of these things that are in red are things that came out last week, which was technically part of September as far as my budget weeks go. My budget weeks run from Friday through Thursday. So this was all technically in September as far as budget weeks, but because it's an October expense, it ended up here, or an October bill rather. So the ones that came out this week were renter's insurance for $15, which is on budget. Quantum, which is my home internet, that was on budget. YouTube Premium, that was on budget. And this one, it says the 10th, but I'm filming this on the 9th and it came out today, so I just put it in already. It doesn't really matter. And then I had 2 bills that I had not planned on. That's what these dashes mean, so they were not a planned bill. Netflix, which I swore I was going to cancel last month, after meaning to cancel it the month before, came out again. So I've really got to get in front of that, but I have Netflix for another month. $20 for a month of Netflix. And I think I'm on one of the ad-supported tiers. It's just crazy. And then LabCorp, I had a blood draw, and that came out this month for $9. I was starting to think that they weren't going to charge me at all because I had this blood draw, I don't know, weeks ago, and the expense finally hit. By the way, when you go to get any kind of test done, if you go to LabCorp, they will ask you if you want to pay at the time of service or if you want them to bill you. My recommendation is pay at the time of service. So the actual bill here was like $8.65. That's what they told me. After it went through insurance, it was closer to $11, but they didn't charge me the full amount. They only charged me what they had said it was going to be. So they ate the difference. So if it were me, doing this again, I would always pay at the time of service. And then if it comes out to be less than what you paid, then just call them and they'll refund you the difference, I'm sure. But if it's more than what you ended up paying, if insurance doesn't cover the amount that they said that it would, then they eat the difference. So just a little tip there. Wallet spending, $255.83. So I was over by $5.83 this week. It kind of is what it is. I try to hit it close, but there is a little bit of a buffer here, or a remainder that I use to kind of absorb any of those. And I might come in under on some of these other weeks. In fact, this week I'm hoping that I will come in under. So we'll see. Now, stockpiles. Last week, I had completely forgotten what I had planned for October when I filmed my Ready Budget Game and my Wednesday video. So I only ended up saving $306 instead of the $500 that I had anticipated. So I made up for that this week, and if you've seen those videos, then you know I now publish a video on Tuesdays, which is full of savings challenges. Mondays is still Ready Budget Game, and Wednesdays I still do my paint by sticker. So this week it was $704 to make up for last week, and I'll talk a little bit more about where that money went as we get to some of the other sheets. But let's move on from here. I'm not going to talk about cash allocation too much, except to say that the reason I do this, even though it seems maybe kind of silly or pointless, is because this tells me where I'm planning to send my money each week. And so if I forget, I can always come back here and see, okay, this is what I actually planned. So the cash flow tracker, which is basically a check register, I had 3 transactions come through my checking account, and actually this one hasn't come through yet, but I submitted it this evening, so I know it's coming. So I had the $306 going into my high yield savings for the big move. That was from last week. And then Quantum Fiber came out, and then savings for this week that went to the big move and travel. So the big move will get $304 and travel will get $400 because travel's supposed to get $200 a week, but it didn't in week 1. So let's move on from here. So expenses this week, very light. Costco, $188. Uber Eats, $17.83. And then weekly cash spent, $50. Now, if you haven't heard me talk about this before, the reason why I record that $50 as being spent is because to me, when I take that money out of the bank, it is a sunk cost. The only reason that money will go back into the bank is to pay a credit card for a special event or a special occasion. So that could be a birthday, a holiday, a wedding gift, a baby shower gift, an engagement present, any of those. So that is the kind of slush fund that I'm working on building. And I record this every week as $50 no matter how much cash I've spent. Because like I say, once it's out of the bank, I don't really view it as, how do I put this? I don't really view it as my money anymore. I'm kind of the custodian of it because really this money is to be spent on other people. I can spend it on myself, and sometimes I do. If I want to go out to lunch or something, then I'll spend a little bit of it. But that's also an incentive not to spend cash because then I can give it to other people, and I'd rather do that. Hopefully that makes sense. I may change how I do this next year, but for this year, it's working okay so far. Okay, so that's it for this section. So now let's talk about savings. So let me go into that. First up, we've got the monetization tracker. Let me get this centered here. And last time I had crossed the 600 subscriber mark, or last week, so I'd put $50 in and brought the balance up to $3,000. I save $5 per subscriber, so each one of these represents 10 subscribers or $50. And so I was able to fill in another one this week, and I'm on the cusp of being able to do another one because I'm at 619 as of when I am filming this. So if you haven't subscribed already, I'd love to have you here, and I will save $5 if you do. So That will be hopefully next week. I am behind on this because I wasn't expecting to kind of surge ahead this week. So that money is in transit, and once it gets to the high yield savings, I will record it here. The money that I use to build this up comes out of my Etsy pay. So it's coming into my high yield savings account from a different source. But that is that. And now let's talk about, okay, books. So this is the $304 that I was talking about earlier that went to the big move for this week. So that brings that balance up to $29.24. So by the time this and this are updated, I will have almost $6,000 saved out of a $15,000 goal. So that's, what, 40%, I think? So I'm on my way. I probably won't make it by the end of the year. I just don't think there's enough time left in the year to get there, and that's okay. The big move, if you are new or if you haven't heard me talk about it before, is where I'm planning on moving to another state next year. I currently live in Washington State, and I've lived here my whole life, and I'm just looking to spread my wings a little. I don't know exactly what state I'll be moving to, and I don't know exactly when. That's kind of part of the adventure, and so I'm okay with not knowing that. I am usually a planner. I want to know where I'm going, when I'm going to get there, when I'm going to get back, what I'm doing, all of that. But this time, I'm really, I don't know. This time around, I'm just trying to kind of go where the wind takes me, which is different. And I think it's healthy to do kind of the opposite of what your mindset is. Just live a little and experiment. So anyway. So that is it for that. And I don't think I have anything else here to talk about in regards to savings. I don't. My IRA is fully funded for this year. I expect that the government will announce the IRA limits late this month, early next month. It kind of depends on when it opens back up, I think. But once they do, I will update this tracker and put it back out to Etsy, probably. But anyway, this is the 2025 version, and I'll make a 2026 version with whatever the limits end up being. So look for that coming forward. And now, if you've made it this far in the video, I promised on Eva's Live earlier tonight, as I'm recording this on Thursday night, that I would give a sneak preview of one of the items that is coming up in my Etsy shop at the end of October. So my launches are typically on the 28th. I have hit the 28th every month that I've tried to do it, which I think is since May of this year. So far, so good. So let me put this to the side, and I will talk a little bit about what is coming. Now, I just got these from the printer, and I cannot stop touching them. They feel amazing. So these are placeholders. And I think, it's, if you know me, it's probably no secret that placeholders are like my favorite budgeting tool because they can be almost anything. And these in particular are raised. I'm going to try to, they're textured. See, you can kind of see how it's reflective there. And it's 3D. So this part is the really smooth texture, and then this is like the glossy texture, but it's raised. It's 3D. I don't know if I can turn it. And so one side is a colored background with a white raised numbers and border, and the other side is the opposite. It is a white border. Ooh, this one's a little bit smudged here. Oops, sorry about that. Sorry. It's a white background, and it's got the numbers in a gradient pattern. So I don't know if that's easier to see. Yeah, there we go. So, I just love it. So there are 100s, 200s, 500s, 1000s, 2000s, and 5000s. And of course, we have the full spectrum. So we have red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. And let me turn them over. So purple, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. So these will be available starting on the 28th. I don't yet know what configurations they will be in, so I will tell you I ordered way more of the 100s than the other, just because the most common denomination. So I need to figure out what the final cost was and put them into packages. I'm also debating whether I should round the corners or not. I'm thinking not, just because if I round the corners, they can't be unrounded. They're kind of stuck like that. Or maybe I'll make it an option. But either way, just the smoothness of the paper, because these are matte coated, and these are thick. I mean, I don't know if you can hear that, but they are thick. Not too thick. I mean, I didn't want them to be. How do I put this? I didn't want them to interfere with the cash envelopes. I didn't want them to be so bulky that it was going to make cash envelopes difficult to close. But at the same time, I wanted them to be substantial enough that it would feel like um, an achievement. Because to me, that's what placeholders are. It's like you work so hard to put smaller bills away, and you finally got to a point where you can put it in the bank because you know you're going to use it later for whatever your heart desires or whatever your budget demands. And it's sort of like a milestone. And I think that should be celebrated and rewarded in a way. So, anyway, these are coming. Like I keep saying, October 28th will be the launch. There are other things coming for the October 28th launch. I don't have them from the printer yet. I actually ordered these 3 weeks ago, more than 3 weeks ago, as a matter of fact. So it just takes a while to get this process done because of what it is. It's not just a typical print job. So yeah. Oh, I think the green one is my favorite, but then I'm always partial to green. So anyway, that is it. That is all I have to share for this week. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. I'll save $5 if you do. And the next video should be Ready Budget Game on Monday. And then we've got the Savings Challenge Day on Tuesday. And then I'll be back for Paint by Sticker Wednesday. And right back here a week from today with another weekly reel. Thanks again so much for watching. And until I do see you in the next one, take care.